My homily for Palm Sunday of the Passion of the Lord, the 24th of March 2024. I always think that the Passion Gospel speaks for itself. But before we get there today, we have our first reading psalm and second reading to set the scene. Our first reading speaks of the suffering servant who made no resistance and offered his back to those who struck him. Many years before Jesus was born, it was all prophesied. Our psalm gives us the haunting words that Jesus proclaimed from the cross. My God, why have you deserted me? And our second reading speaks of how Jesus emptied himself. For me, that word powerfully describes exactly what our God in Jesus did for us. He emptied himself. Words are sometimes called cheap. They are so easily uttered. But I think the words in the Passion Gospel are powerfully descriptive of what Jesus went through for us. One of you is about to betray me. Have you ever been betrayed by someone close to you? That must be deeply wounding. This is my body, this is my blood. Like the Passover lamb, he was sacrificed. He gave himself up for us, as we recall in every Mass. A sudden fear came over him and great distress. Have you ever felt afraid, really afraid? That's how Jesus felt. They all deserted him and ran away. Have you ever felt deserted and abandoned, completely alone? Such a horrible feeling. They all gave their verdict. He deserves to die. Have you ever been unjustly condemned? How did you feel? Not good, is it? I do not know. He again denied it. I do not know the man. Have you ever denied knowing Jesus? Peter did. But he more than made up for it afterwards. It was out of jealousy that the chief priest handed Jesus over. Do you ever feel jealous? We must resist those feelings, for they can lead to terrible things if we're not careful. Crucify him, crucify him. What would you have said if you were in that crowd? Would you have kept quiet? Would you have walked away? Or would you have gone along with everyone else? My God, why have you deserted me? I find those words terribly haunting. Our God in Jesus entered so fully into the human condition that he felt completely abandoned by his Father. The Trinity is such a close, intimate bond that we can't even begin to imagine how Jesus felt. They laid Jesus in a tomb. It's usually a moment of sadness, that. Sometimes a deep and intense sadness when the body disappears into the tomb with what seems like an awful finality. What a sadness it must have been when they laid Jesus in the tomb. Perfectly compassionate and loving and justly condemned on a trumped-up charge, many people's hopes must have been laid in that tomb with him. Thankfully, that was not the end. For we have next Sunday, Easter Sunday, to look forward to. The resurrection. Praise God.